Have you ever added up what you spent each year just to stay organized? I did, and I wish I hadn't. A paper planner here, a subscription app there, a productivity course I barely finished, and once a lifestyle coach who charged me $300 a month to tell me to wake up earlier and drink more water. It adds up, quietly, year after year. Now I'm over 50. My time feels more valuable than ever. My energy isn't what it used to be. And yet, somehow my days felt more scattered than when I was 30. Too many notes, too many reminders, too many things slipping through the cracks. Be honest, does any of this sound familiar? You wake up with good intentions. You even write things down. But by 2 p.m. something changes. A phone call, a distraction, a little fatigue. And suddenly the day is running you instead of the other way around. That's where I was. And then one afternoon, sitting at my kitchen table with a half-used planner and a cup of coffee that had gone cold, I had a simple thought. What if I stopped trying to plan my day and let AI do it for me? Not partially, not just reminders. My entire day, from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. Meals, breaks, errands, even when to relax, for 30 days straight. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Come on, a chatbot can't replace a real system. That's exactly what I thought. But here's the part that got my attention. The AI tools I used? Free, or close to it. No monthly coaching fee. No fancy planner system. No expensive productivity expert telling me what I already knew. Just simple tools on a phone I already owned. So I set a rule for myself. For 30 days, I would follow the plan the AI created. Not my instincts, not my old habits, the AI. If it told me to take a walk at 3:15, I took the walk. If it told me to stop working at 7, I stopped. If it told me to rest, I rested. And if it got something wrong, I'd learn from it and adjust. Because here's the real question I wanted answered. Can something simple, cheap, and digital actually replace the structure we've been paying for all these years? Or is this just another tech trend that sounds good but falls apart in real life? I didn't know, but I was about to find out. Before I walk you through exactly what I did, you need to understand why the old way costs so much. Before I walk you through what I actually did, let's talk about the old way for a second, because most people don't realize what they are really paying for. When you hire a planner, a coach, or even subscribe to a premium productivity app, you are not just paying for a schedule. You are paying for structure, for accountability, for someone or something to take the mental load off your shoulders. And that sounds great, but here's where the cost creeps in. A decent life coach? $200 to $500 a month. A productivity consultant? Sometimes more. Even those simple planning apps, $10, $15, $20 a month, quietly built year after year. Now, if those systems worked perfectly, maybe it would be worth it. But for most people over 50, the problem isn't a lack of information. It's not that you don't know you should move more, rest more, stay organized, keep track of appointments, remember medications, plan meals. You already know all that. The real problem is decision fatigue. Too many small choices. Too many moving pieces. Too many moments where you have to stop and think, what should I be doing right now? And every time you pause like that, you lose momentum. That's what I was paying for. Not knowledge, not even motivation, just someone to simplify my day. So I started asking myself a different question. What if I could get that same structure without paying someone every month? That's where AI came in. Now, when I say AI, I'm not talking about anything complicated or technical. No coding, no special setup. I use tools like ChatGPT for planning and conversation, and a basic calendar app on my phone. That's it. No expensive ecosystem, no learning curve that takes weeks. Just typing in plain English, like you would talk to a person. Here's the basic idea. Instead of me trying to plan my day from scratch, I gave the AI a clear picture of my life, my wake-up time, my energy levels, my typical meals, my responsibilities, my bad habits, even the times of day when I tend to lose focus. And then I asked it a very simple question. Create a realistic, easy to follow daily plan for someone over 50 who wants more structure without feeling overwhelmed. Not perfect, not ambitious, realistic. That word matters. Because most systems fail right there. They try to turn you into someone you are not. The AI didn't do that. It built around me. Now, I didn't just ask once and call it a day. I refined it. I'd say things like, make the morning slower, or add more breaks, or don't schedule anything mentally demanding after 6 p.m. And it would adjust instantly. No extra cost. No waiting for the next appointment. Then I added a second layer. I asked it to break the day into simple blocks. Morning routine, light activity, focus time, meals, rest, evening wind down. Not minute by minute control, but enough structure that I didn't have to think. That was the goal. Remove as many decisions as possible. Now, before I started the 30-day experiment, I set some very clear rules. Rule number 1. I would follow the AI's plan as closely as possible. Not perfectly, but honestly. Rule number 2. I would not add any other systems. No extra planners. No switching back when things felt uncomfortable. Rule number 3. I would adjust the AI's plan only once per day, usually in the evening, based on what worked and what didn't. And rule number 4, and this is important, I would not treat the AI like a medical professional, a financial advisor, or anything like that. If something involved my health, medications, or anything serious, I used common sense and real-world advice from licensed professionals. The AI was a planner, not a replacement for expertise. So what counted as success? Not perfection. Not waking up at 5 a.m. and becoming a completely different person. Success meant 3 things. First, did my days feel less chaotic? Second, did I spend less time deciding what to do next? And third, did I actually follow through more often than before? Simple. Because if it didn't improve those 3 things, then it wasn't worth even $1, let alone a monthly subscription. Now, I'll be honest with you. Going into this, I had doubts. I've tried systems before. I've bought the planners. I've watched the videos. I've even had weeks where everything worked, until it didn't. So part of me expected this to fall apart by day 5. Maybe day 7 if I was lucky. But what actually happened over those 30 days? That's where things got interesting. Day 1 felt almost too simple. I woke up, opened my phone, and there it was. A clean, calm plan written out in plain English. Not a wall of text. Not some complicated system. Just a sequence. Wake up at 7 o'clock. Drink water. Light stretch. Breakfast by 7:45. Short walk at 8:15. Nothing fancy. Nothing overwhelming. And that was the first surprise. It didn't try to impress me. It tried to help me follow through. Now here's what I noticed right away. Normally my mornings start with hesitation. I stand in the kitchen thinking, should I check email first? Should I eat? Should I get moving? That pause, it drains you. But with the AI plan, there was no pause. I just moved to the next step. And oddly enough, that felt calming. By day 3, something else became clear. The AI wasn't perfect, not even close. On one morning, it scheduled a walk right after breakfast, which sounds fine until you realize I had a call scheduled that I forgot to mention, so I missed the walk. The plan broke. Old me would have said, well, there goes the system. But this time I went back that evening and told the AI, avoid scheduling walks before 10 a.m. on weekdays. And just like that, it adapted. No frustration, no wasted money, no waiting for next week's adjustment. That flexibility, that was new. Around day 5, I started noticing something bigger. I wasn't thinking about my day as much. And I mean that in a good way. Less mental clutter, fewer internal debates, less of that constant background noise asking, what should I do next? Instead, I'd glance at my phone and continue. That's when I realized something important. The real value wasn't the schedule. It was the removal of decision fatigue. Now, let's talk about the middle of the day, because that's where most systems fall apart. Around 2 p.m., my energy dips. Always has. Before this experiment, that's when I'd drift. Maybe scroll on my phone, maybe start something and not finish it. The AI noticed that pattern, because I told it, so it started scheduling lighter tasks during that window. Things like organizing a drawer, making a simple meal, even just a 20-minute rest. At first I thought, this feels too easy, but here's the strange part. I actually did those things, because they didn't feel like a burden. Now, not everything worked. Around day 10, the AI got a little over-enthusiastic. It gave me a packed afternoon, back-to-back tasks, no breathing room. I followed it anyway, and by 4 p.m. I was exhausted. That night I told it, limit my afternoon to 3 main tasks, add buffer time. The next day, completely different experience. This back and forth became part of the system, not a flaw, but a feature. You're not just following a plan, you're training it. By week 2, I started trusting the process more. I'd wake up without that familiar pressure to figure things out. The plan was already there. Meals were simpler. I wasn't overthinking what to eat, because it had already suggested options based on what I told it I liked. Evenings became more structured, but in a gentle way. Instead of watching TV until I felt tired, the plan would suggest winding down at a certain time, light reading, lower lights, no heavy decisions late at night. Did I follow it perfectly? No. Some nights I ignored it completely. But even then, I noticed something. I was more aware of my choices. And that awareness started changing my habits. Now let me tell you about a moment that really stood out. Around day 17, I had a busy, slightly stressful day. Errands, calls, a few unexpected issues. Normally, that would throw everything off. But the AI plan had built-in flexibility. It had recovery blocks. Time to reset, time to catch up. So instead of the day collapsing, it bent. And that was new for me. Most systems break under pressure. This one adjusted. By week 3, something almost automatic started happening. I wasn't checking the plan constantly anymore. I'd internalize parts of it. I knew when it was time to move, time to rest, time to stop. It wasn't controlling me, it was training me. Now, I don't want to make this sound like magic. There were annoyances. Typing adjustments every night took a few minutes. Sometimes the suggestions felt repetitive. And yes, there were moments where I thought I could plan this myself. But here's the honest truth. I hadn't been doing it. Not consistently, not this calmly. And consistency, that's where everything changes. By the time I reached day 30, I had something I didn't expect. Not a perfect schedule, not a flawless system, but a rhythm. A day that flowed without constant effort. And that leads to the question that really matters. After 30 days, was it actually better than the expensive alternatives, or just different? So after 30 days, was it actually better? Here's the honest answer. In some ways, yes. In other ways, it depends on who you are. Let's start with the part most people care about: money. Before this, I was spending anywhere from $10 a month on apps up to a few $100s during the times I tried coaching or structured programs. Over a year, that adds up fast. Sometimes $1,000 or more for something that still depended on me to follow through. With the AI setup, basically free, or close enough that it didn't even register as a decision. That alone got my attention. But saving money doesn't mean much if the system doesn't work. So let's talk about results. Did my days feel less chaotic? Yes, clearly. I wasn't waking up wondering what I should do first. I wasn't drifting through the afternoon. I wasn't ending the day thinking, what did I even accomplish? There was a structure, a gentle one, but consistent. Did I spend less time deciding what to do next? Absolutely. That might have been the biggest win. That constant low-level stress of decision-making, it was quieter. Not gone, but quieter. And did I follow through more often? This is where it gets interesting. Not perfectly, but more than before. And more importantly, with less resistance. Because the plan felt realistic. It didn't try to turn me into a completely different person. It worked with my habits, not against them. Now, who is this actually for? If you're someone over 50 who feels like your days are just a little too scattered, this can help. If you've tried planners, apps, systems, and nothing seems to stick, this might be worth exploring. If you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars every month just to stay organized, this is a serious alternative. But it's not for everyone. If you need strict accountability from another human being, this won't fully replace that. If you want emotional support, deep coaching, or someone to push you hard, AI isn't going to do that in the same way. And if your situation involves complex medical routines, medications, or anything that requires professional oversight, this should only be a supplement, not the main system. That's important. This entire experience I've shared is just that, my personal experience. It's not medical advice, it's not legal advice, it's not individualized financial advice. If you're making decisions about your health, your medications, or major financial changes, you should always talk to a licensed professional who understands your specific situation. The AI helped me organize my day. It didn't replace real expertise. Now let's talk about limitations, because there are a few. First, it requires a little honesty. If you give the AI unrealistic expectations, it will build an unrealistic plan. Second, you have to be willing to adjust. This isn't a set it and forget it system. It works best when you spend a few minutes each day refining it. And third, it doesn't know your body. It doesn't feel your energy. It doesn't notice subtle changes the way you do. So you still have to listen to yourself. That balance matters. Now here's the part I didn't expect. By the end of the 30 days, I didn't need the AI as much as I thought I would. Not because it stopped being useful, but because it had already taught me a rhythm, a simpler way to structure my day. Less guessing, less overthinking, more flow, and that might be the real value here. Not just having AI plan your life, but learning how to plan it better yourself. So if you're curious, here's a simple way to try this. Tomorrow morning, instead of opening 3 different apps or staring at a blank planner, open a simple AI tool. Describe your day, your habits, your energy levels, and ask for a realistic plan. Not perfect, just realistic. Follow it for 1 day, then adjust, then try again the next day. You don't need 30 days to see if something feels different. You'll notice it in the first few, because when the mental load gets lighter, everything else gets a little easier. And at this stage of life, that matters more than ever.